Gut, wenn alles geklappt hat, bin ich jetzt live und man sollte mich auch gut hören. Hallo, herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Zero Escape 999. Und ja, ich schaue jetzt erstmal kurz, ob das mit dem Ton funktioniert. Gebt mir einen kleinen Moment. Dafür muss ich hier einmal kurz... Ich regle ja den Stream über einen Laptop direkt daneben. Von daher muss ich da jetzt mal ganz kurz hier das Mikro ausschalten. Okay, Ton scheint soweit gut zu funktionieren. Das ist sehr gut. Dann würde ich sagen... Ah, okay, ich sehe auch, es ist jemand schon da. Let's go, ja, genau das. Für die vielleicht jetzt noch nicht so häufig hier reingeschaut haben, das Ganze ist ein reines Narrative-Game. Das heißt, das hier ist jetzt gerade das Flowchart, wie die Story laufen kann. Wir haben bereits 4 von insgesamt 6 Enden. Na gut, streng genommen sind es 5, wobei eines halt eine Fortsetzung des anderen ist. Also, wie soll man sagen, es sind 5 Enden, wenn man es ganz genau nimmt. Eines ist mehr so ein To Be Continued und wir haben es bisher geschafft, komplett an dem Ding vorbeizurennen, was auch gut ist. Jedenfalls, was ich jetzt gerne einmal zeigen möchte, ist, wo man noch einmal falsch abbiegen kann. Nämlich so, dass man quasi hier... Moment. Dass man quasi hier entsprechend dorthin geht, wo man dann auch wieder an einem Pfad landet, der einem automatisch hier hinbringt, was per se nichts Schlimmes ist. Aber ich möchte ja das ganze Spiel zeigen, ne? Von daher geht's jetzt hier hin und wir entscheiden uns diesmal für... In dem Fall, es müsste Tür 3 sein. So, wir gehen also jetzt hier schön einmal auf Skip. Bis wir zur Entscheidung kommen. So, Skip ausschalten. Door 3.
I want to go through door number 3.
Nope, you can't.
Huh? Why?
Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we'd give up on going through door 3.
Why?
The bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 2 combinations that can go through door 3 with 3 people. 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8. That's it.
Moment, ich bin noch im Adventure Screen. Ich muss ja in den...
Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door.
Ich muss ja noch in den Novel Screen schalten. Was habe ich bisher übersehen? Ach so, nö. Noch nichts. Okay, alles gut. Ich bevorzuge den Novel Screen schlichtweg deshalb, weil da einiges mehr an Informationen noch hinterherkommt.
I see. That means one team would get left behind.
That's right.
That doesn't happen if we go through door 7 or 8?
No, they're fine. We've got 3 options.
Santa began to explain.
Option A, have 3, 5, and 8 go through door 7, and 4, 6, 7 go through door 8. Option B, 4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8. Option C, 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. Those are the only 3 options. That's it. At least if we want to get all 6 of us out of here.
Wait.
Ach ja, immer die schöne Sache mit den Quersummen. That was when Junpei realized... Plan A divides into 2 teams. 3, 5, 8 and 4, 6, 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams. 4, 5, 7 and 3, 6, 8. Plan C divides into 2 teams. 3, 6, 7 and 4, 5, 8. Man merkt vielleicht immer so eine Sache. Grundsätzlich sind 3 und 4, 5 und 6 und 7 und 8 immer in unterschiedlichen Teams bei diesen Kombinationen.
But that means...
There was one thing they all had in common.
5 and 6 can never be on the same team. If we want all 6 of us to go through a door, then June and I can't go into the same one.
June and Junpei had been friends when they were kids. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do?
Have you mulled it over enough, or do you need more time? Anyway, that's the deal, so think it over.
Ich habe gerade so einen leichten Frosch im Hals. Tut mir leid. Aber immerhin, ich habe mir hier eine Kanne Tee gemacht. So einen Früchtetee. Damit werde ich, glaube ich, ganz gut über diesen Streamabend kommen. Noch ein kleines bisschen zu heiß. Aber der ist in einer verhältnismäßig kleinen Tasse. Das wird sich relativ schnell auf angenehme Trinktemperatur reduzieren.
You've got 2 choices, 7 or 8. You can't choose 3.
Sieht hier anders aus, oder?
If you choose 3, you're gonna be leaving 3 people behind to die. So what are you gonna do? 7 or 8? Time to choose.
Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was... So, man kann sich hier nochmal umentscheiden, wenn man am Anfang Tür 3 genommen hat. Nachdem man diese Erklärung bekommen hat. Man kann aber jetzt auch sagen, scheiß drauf.
Sorry, Santa, but I still want to go through door 3.
What? That's nuts! You've got to be crazy! Why the hell are you so obsessed with that door?
I'm just...
Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say.
I'm just curious about door 3, that's all.
That doesn't explain shit!
I've got a reason. I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me.
With that, he began walking toward the door. Their curiosity likely getting the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that wouldn't matter. He kept walking and kept silent. Eventually, they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei stopped.
I'm curious about the red. 7, would you mind authenticating for me?
Why?
Please, just do it.
He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner.
Happy?
Yeah, thanks. The number 7 has been entered into the red. Next is June. Please touch the red just like 7 did.
Jumpy, what are you trying to figure out?
Yep. I think
Junpei thought about his answer for a moment.
I might have found another way out.
What?
Really?
That got them excited. Just as Junpei had intended.
Now please, June?
Oh, okay.
7 plus 6 equals 13. 1 plus 3 equals 4. Those 2 numbers in the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He casually placed his own hand on the scanner, and the 3rd asterisk blinked on. 4 plus 5 equals 9.
Alright, the only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
So, what's your point?
You don't get it. Think about it.
Huh?
What's the sum of your number and Clover's?
12.
And what's the digital root of that?
3.
Which is Santa's number. By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red?
7 plus 6 plus 5 equals 18. It would be 9, right?
Yes, and what will the digital root be if you add 3 to that?
3. The door's number.
There you go!
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to?
I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa, or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting.
Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever.
You son of a bitch! You tricked us!
Ist nicht die sympathischste Lösung.
And all that stuff you were going on about is all bullshit!
Bullshit? Huh. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figured out another way to get out of here? This is it.
Why the hell would you do something like this?
Junpei glanced at June.
Jumpy?
You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. That's it?
Santa was furious. His face was red and flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. Junpei closed his eyes calmly and then opened them again.
So, who's it going to be? Santa? Or Lotus and Clover?
Shit!
Let's go, Clover.
Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei at the door.
Fuck!
Caught by surprise, Santa froze for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Almost immediately he passed Lotus and Clover.
Oh, no, wait!
Santa did not hesitate.
Ah!
He slammed his hand down on the red.
This is insane! This isn't right!
He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving.
Yeah, well, you may be right,
Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort.
but
He turned to the red and pulled the lever. With the sound of metal on metal, the door opened. Muss man sagen, es hätte theoretisch noch eine andere Möglichkeit gegeben. Einfach den Hebel runterziehen, bevor die anderen entsprechend sich eingeloggt hätten. Und dafür zu sorgen, dass halt, naja, eine ungültige Zahl drin steht und dann, blönk, kein Problem. Und nochmal würden die Leute nicht drauf reinfallen. Aber jetzt ist es schwierig. It would only remain so for 9 seconds. There was no time to think.
Go.
Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door's gaping mouth, one after another. No sooner did they enter than an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. Their detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the closing door.
No.
They stood still, stopped where they had been when Santa reached the red. The defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Then the door closed, and they were gone.
You son of a bitch, Junpei! This isn't fair!
Santa rounded on Junpei, lightning crackling in his eyes and his knuckles white.
Do you realize what you just did? You leave them out there, and they can't...
Shut it! That's enough!
It hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but 7.
We gotta find the dead or none of this is gonna matter!
The clock was ticking. The dead was their only chance at survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate the detonators, the 4 of them would be...
We got less than a minute left! No time for screwing around! Get moving!
Damn it! You and I are not done yet, bastard!
They scattered and began to scour the room. The deactivation device was nowhere to be found.
Where the hell is it?
Corridors stretched out in 3 directions, but every one was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. The other door.
Over there! It's gotta be behind the door!
7 ran for the door, a rusty iron thing. His large hands grabbed hold of the handle and pulled.
damn, it's pitch dark inside.
Can't see a thing!
Junpei stuck his head through the door and looked around the room.
No, wait!
Almost immediately he spotted the blinking red light on the right wall.
I found it! The dead's right over here!
He stepped into the room.
Ugh. What? The floor's slippery!
He stopped and glanced down at his feet. What was...
Hey! What the hell are you doing?
There's something...
Get over there!
Junpei felt 7's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. The other 3 piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could be easily identified, only a sense that something terrible shared the room with them. There was no time to say so.
Quick! Get to the dead!
They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was the tiny red light blinking at them over and over and over.
There it is!
In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel. Ich möchte kurz anmerken, ich finde es sehr passend, dass das eigentlich ein Weg ist, wenn man den einschlägt. Dass es dann nur einen automatischen Weg zu einem schlechten Ende gibt. Weil man sich an dieser Stelle echt wie ein absolutes Arschloch verhalten muss, um da zu landen. Aber gut. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted.
It stopped. It stopped.
Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face.
I don't think I'll ever get used to doing this.
What the...
The sound of retching came from Santa's direction.
What the hell is this smell? This is vile. I'm gonna puke.
Ja, wenn man in den letzten Stories aufgepasst hat, weiß man, wer hier liegt. Oder zumindest nicht ganz direkt wer, aber man weiß, dass hier jemand liegt. Also man könnte sagen, es gibt eine Vermutung, wer es ist, zumindest von den Charakteren. Aber wir wissen ja, dass diese Vermutung nicht stimmt inzwischen. So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench, like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took.
Oh, you're right. This is...
He felt his stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat.
Let's get the lights on first. There's a switch over here.
The light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small switch plate next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes apparent in his gait, Seven walked toward it. He stopped as he got close and extended his fingers toward the switch.
Okay, guys, I'm flipping it on.
There was a soft click as the lights came on. Just as the light turned on, June took in a short breath and... A scream echoes through the room. Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him.
What?
Hey. Oh, this is...
What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Looks like an explosion.
Seven's voice was low and strained.
Just like the Ninth Man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
The face is the worst. Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the grey slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
Is that... Snake?
Santa's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry.
Oh my god.
Finally, Junpei spoke.
Why did this happen?
No!
Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream full of insanity, and not entirely human.
No! No! No!
She shook her head violently and grabbed fistfuls of her own hair. Junpei could hear the sound of hair tearing.
Stop! Calm down.
He grabbed for her wrist.
Hey!
But as he did, June leapt up and ran toward the exit.
Please! Get me out of here! You have to let me out of here!
She screamed at the door, and her fists slammed against it with a hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of blood on her knuckles.
Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this?
June.
She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry. Her fists flailed against the door.
Get me out of here! Please! Please! Just let me out!
June.
Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door.
Calm down.
No! Get off of me! Let me go! Let me go!
Please, calm down.
She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed toward the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Her shoulders shook, and great hot tears rolled down her face like rain.
We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June. It's going to be okay, Connie.
Her name was a whisper.
I'll be here with you, okay?
She nodded once.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy.
Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic.
Do you feel better?
Yes, but I'd like to stay here. For a little while, at least. Jumpy's body is so warm.
Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. They didn't speak. Neither did Seven or Santa. A person was dead. They had died in that room, in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget, but mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made of lead.
We better get to it.
So, und damit sind wir jetzt auch schon angekommen an der Stelle mit dem Escape Room, dem Shower Room. Ohne diese wie soll man sagen, diese Situation, die wir ausgelöst haben, wären wir hier nicht gelandet in diesem Escape Room. Jetzt ist der Tee echt angenehm. Zumindest der in der Tasse, nicht in der Kanne. Schauen wir uns mal um. Those letters written in blood. LLR. Do you think that might be some sort of dying message from Snake?
No, that's impossible. You saw the body. You aren't doing anything after something like that happens to you.
Then this is...
The way the blood's dry tells you it's real old. Whoever's blood this is, it ain't Snake's.
Then you're saying this blood was put here a long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Schauen wir uns mal um. Kann man hier irgendwie... Oh, ein Eimer. Bucket. It's a tin bucket. Hey, Jumpy. Do you remember back in elementary school when you spilled all of our paint across the whole classroom? They made you clean it up and all they gave you was a sponge and a bucket, like this. Hey, come on now. Can't we just leave the past in the past? Ja, peinliche Jugenderinnerung. Junpei reached for the broom, and as he grabbed it, he heard a soft voice from behind him. It was June.
The rabbit hutch.
Huh?
He turned around. June still looked sadly pale, but there was a smile on her face.
Oh, you just reminded me of it. The rabbit hutch, I mean.
How did I remind you of something like that?
Jumpy and the broom. You're always playing around with the broom in front of the rabbit hutch.
I was.
Don't you remember?
Junpei stared at the broom in his hand.
You mean you don't remember that summer either?
She looked very sad. He shook his head.
Of course I remember. How could I forget something like that? It was terrible.
They were in the 6th grade. Junpei and June had been assigned to take care of the classroom pets, the rabbits. Their chief duty was to clean the hutches every morning. On the final day of school before summer vacation began, Junpei overslept. He rushed to school and found June standing in front of the rabbit hutches. No sooner had Junpei arrived than June began to cry. He had no idea why until he looked behind her into the rabbit hutch. The first thing he saw was blood. The hutch was filled with the dead bodies of the rabbits. Even after their teachers and friends came to see what the commotion was, June couldn't stop crying.
I just kept crying and crying until you came over. You held my hand and you looked very serious and you said, "Don't cry, I'm gonna catch the person who did this." After you told me that, I finally stopped crying.
Well, the real fun started after you quit crying. You told me we were gonna catch the killer together.
June smiled, and a little of the flush of life returned to her cheeks.
Then we decided that we'd ambush them.
Yeah, I remember.
The school also kept roosters and guinea pigs. Junpei and June had decided the murderer would likely return to finish off the rest of the animals. They would ambush the killer at night. Junpei and June hid behind the hutch at dusk and waited. It was a warm summer night. The quiet sound of crickets whispered through the air. And the sun went down. As the sun went down, the stars began to wink at them from the sky. And June's Akane Kurashiki's face. That night was something Junpei knew he would never forget as long as he lived.
But the murderer never showed up. We waited for them all summer vacation, and they never showed up.
Yeah, but the animals didn't get attacked either. I think all that work amounted to something, you know?
He'd felt the same way, but it was good to hear her say it.
Although, you know, if you think about it, we were probably taking on a lot more than we could handle.
What do you mean?
She looked up at him, confused.
Well, come on, we were just kids. If whoever killed the rabbits had actually showed up, they probably would have had a knife or something. I mean, you must have been pretty worried, right?
I wasn't worried. Because you were there with me.
She blushed furiously.
Well, you know, no one else wanted to take care of the animals.
Clearly embarrassed, she tried desperately to change the subject.
I was the only one who asked to do it at first.
Yeah, well, boys don't really want to bother with taking care of animals, you know?
Na, kommt drauf an.
Well, yeah, but you asked to do it after I did, didn't you?
If it wasn't the rabbits, they were gonna make me do something else. You know how that school was. I figured it'd be better if I was working with somebody who wasn't too much of a loudmouth, right? Somebody who wasn't gonna tell on me if I felt like blowing it off.
Really? That's why you volunteered?
Yeah, it is.
He nodded quickly and much too earnestly, and then quickly looked away at something very important.
Really?
Of course.
That hadn't been the reason, of course. He had asked to take care of the rabbits so he could be near June. But it had been so long ago, he couldn't bring himself to tell her how it felt back then. It would be embarrassing. He took a quick breath to clear his head, tossed the broom up and then snatched it out of the air.
Well, we don't really have time to be walking down memory lane like this, you know? We've got to figure out a way out of this room. Otherwise...
Yes. I'm gonna look over there.
June nodded curtly, then turned and walked away.
I should get back to it myself. Ah! That's right. The pool of blood.
Junpei turned around and looked at the room. At Snake's body. Chunks of flesh and organs still lay on the floor.
Going on and on about old times right next to a corpse? What were we doing? Well, maybe it was because we're in this mess.
Despite such a situation, or perhaps because of it, the mind turned to the farthest thing from death that it could find. Still, Junpei couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt at wanting so desperately to live when Snake lay dead before him.
I have to survive, no matter the cost. I need to make sure she gets out too.
As he stared at the clumps of blackened flesh, all Junpei could think of was how much he wanted to live. So, broom. Wir haben einen Besen. Huh? What are you doing with the broom? Gute Frage. Eine Toilette. Oh. What do you think this is? It looks like tar. It's kinda sticky. I don't think we can just wipe it off. I doubt just pouring some water on it is gonna help much either. What about hot water? Hot water? If we had some really hot water, like boiling hot, then maybe that would wash it off. Okay. It's a water tank for a toilet. I've seen a lot of OC guys try and hide a piece of something like this. Usually for 187 or something. Guess they think it's clever. Don't know when they figure out everyone else think it's clever too. Huh? I mean, I know peace, but what's OC? Organized crime. What is that? Some kind of police slang? Huh? Probably. Huh? What'd I say? Why does he look all sad now? That's not really important right now, guys. Let's just check it out, alright. Well, he's not wasting any time. Oh, was haben wir denn da? Screwdriver. It's a screwdriver. We can unscrew things with this. Was there something we needed to unscrew somewhere? Toilet's tank, there's nothing in it. Okay. Which means we can't flush it. Kinda hard to flush a toilet without water. Ja. Ansonsten, the dividing wall that separates the toilets. Nichts Besonderes. Oh, eine offene Toilette. There's nothing in the toilet. If there was, that would be gross. There might be something in the tank, you know. Let's open that shit up. Ah, eine Schlüsselkarte. Red Key Card. Ah, Servus zurück an Black Teddy TV. Oder TV, ich weiß es nicht. It's a key card. Probably a key card. Red card, probably a key card. So. Do you remember if you saw a card reader anywhere around here? Wir schauen erstmal weiter um. So. Hier gibt es ja noch weitere. I already checked all 3 toilets, you know. Nothing unusual there. Okay, kann man hier irgendwie sich was angucken? Vielleicht da drüben. Eine Uhr. Ah nee, das ist keine Uhr, das ist ein Thermometer. It's a thermometer. Can you get it off? No. It's screwed onto the wall. Oh, da haben wir doch das Richtige für. There's a thermometer on the wall. So.
Hey, Junpei. You know why thermometers only go up to 107 degrees Fahrenheit?
Ach. Warum sagt er jetzt was von Fahrenheit, wenn das Ding Celsius anzeigt?
No, I can't say I ever thought about that.
At 107 degrees, the cells in the human body start to die, and the organs begin to shut down. The proteins in your cells start to harden. It's like when you hard-boil an egg. Even if you cool it down afterwards, it won't go back to being a raw egg.
Das ist nah dran. Das liegt aber unter anderem daran, dass Fahrenheit nach der menschlichen Körpertemperatur auf 100 Grad gesetzt wurde. Also die 100 Grad Fahrenheit sind so definiert. War so eine ganz leicht erhöhte Temperatur und 0 Grad Fahrenheit ist irgendwie ein besonders kalter Wintertag. Irgendwie so minus 10 oder sowas. Oder minus 7, ich bin mir nicht ganz sicher. Auf jeden Fall sehr willkürlich. Ich finde das bei Celsius etwas praktischer. Aber jetzt trinke ich erstmal hier diese Tasse leer, ehe die komplett kalt wird. Oh, erstmal danke für den netten Kommentar gerade. Also ich lese mal vor. Ich bin froh, dass ich dich mal endlich live erwische. Ich wollte mal ein riesengroßes Lob da aussprechen. Ich liebe deine League of Legends Lore-Videos und nutze sie so kurz zum Schlafen. Und ich freue mich auf jedes neue Video. Das ist sehr lieb von dir. Tatsächlich benutzen gar nicht so wenige meine Videos zum Schlafen. Augenscheinlich habe ich eine relativ beruhigende Stimme. Ja gut, das ist meine besondere Qualität. Aber ja, freut mich auf jeden Fall, dass das Leuten so gefällt. Allerdings weiß ich, dass ich jetzt zum Beispiel, ich habe jetzt heute ja nochmal eine neue Folge aufgenommen, weil nächste Woche kommt der Sejuani. Die Woche darauf kommt dann eine Kurzgeschichte, die ist scheiße lang. Da muss ich mal schauen, ob ich die wirklich in einem durch hinkriege. Aber ich versuche mein Bestes. Das Auge im Abgrund. Das wird speziell. Aber gut. Und bei dem, was jetzt hier Santa sagt, das stimmt. Also wenn du so Körpertemperatur, sagen wir mal, auf 40 Grad erhöhst, dann also ein paar Grad weiter und dann kannst du davon ausgehen, dass da eigentlich nichts mehr groß zu retten ist.
In other words, it's dead. That's why thermometers don't go past 107. There's no point.
Oh yeah?
But it's pretty rare for a fever to get that high. Even viruses and stuff don't usually drive the body temperature up to 107.
Moment, ich schau mal kurz, was 107 Grad Fahrenheit in Celsius wären. Also Fahrenheit to Celsius. Wozu gibt es denn hier einen Laptop, auf dem ich den Stream steuere? Und jetzt gehen wir mal auf 107 Grad Fahrenheit. Das ist 41,7. Okay, da ist man ziemlich tot. Und ja, 0 Grad Celsius und 32 Grad Fahrenheit und 0 Grad Fahrenheit. Oh ne, das sind minus 17,8 Grad Celsius. Ach du Heilige. Was sind das bitte für Zahlen? Na gut. Letzten Endes spielt es auch nur eine Rolle, was man jetzt genau als Maßstab nimmt. Und man hat sich am Ende für Celsius entschieden. Was ein bisschen schöner definiert ist. Aber weiter. Und übrigens, wenn noch weitere Kommentare kommen, ich versuche auf den Chat zu achten und entsprechend Fragen zu beantworten. Oder auch einfach nette Aussagen vorzulesen und mich dafür zu bedanken, je nachdem.
Of course, there are other external things that could.
Oh, Moment. Ich hätte direkt schon wieder in den Modus schalten können. Okay, da hätte ich vielleicht damit erstmal anfangen sollen. The thermometer was screwed into the wall. That meant that Junpei needed to take the screws out with the screwdriver. While he was so engaged, Santa suddenly spoke. Dann später, Junpei answered without taking his eyes off the screw. Why had Santa brought that up, Junpei wondered. Okay.
Like what?
Well, let's see. Something like getting locked in a sauna. Or getting thrown into an incinerator and burnt to death.
Yeah, I guess that would get a little hotter than 107 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh. Incinerator, das passt ja sehr gut zu einem der Enden, was wir schon gesehen haben. Junpei gave a short, barking laugh. A moment later, the screw fell off. With a small tug, Junpei pulled the thermometer from the wall.
All right, I got it!
He looked up and saw Santa glaring at a blank section of wall.
Huh? What's up?
Nothing. Forget about it.
Santa spun around and walked off, away from Junpei.
What was that all about?
But as Junpei watched him go, he didn't look angry. He looked very, very sad. Ich möchte kurz anmerken, ich weiß ja, wie diese Story ausgeht. Und ich weiß, was da alles hintersteckt und wer welche Rolle hat und so weiter. Und tatsächlich ergibt das, was Santa da gerade gesagt hat, im übergeordneten Kontext Sinn. Aber das ist eine Sache, die fällt einem erst auf, wenn man es schon mal durchgespielt hat. Oh, you took the thermometer off. It says open at the bottom of the gauge. I wonder what that means. Maybe when it gets that hot, something will open? Ja, das geht bis über 75 Grad Celsius. Wir müssen ja ohnehin Wasser kochen, ne? Hier haben wir jetzt erstmal was. Wir brauchen doch... So, hier. The red light's on now, Junpei. Ah, okay, und dann brauchen wir aber hier noch einen Code. Okay. Schauen wir uns mal weiter um. Was haben wir denn hier? There's a piece of paper tied to this pipe with a wire. Notice drainage valve operation. Please do not flush the water in these pipes. Doing so may cause the drain to overflow. Ah. Was passiert, wenn wir alles schließen? Erstmal noch nichts. There's water coming out of the shower head. Let's see if... Shit, that's hot. Really hot. Man, that water must be just about boiling. Hehe. Maybe we can use the shower here to fill the bucket with hot water. Hey, 7, could you turn on the shower? I'm gonna put the bucket on the under the head. Okay, sure thing. So, bucket filled with hot water. Dann können wir jetzt kombinieren. Nö, können wir nicht. Okay. Können wir das Thermometer direkt darunter machen? Yeah. If I can get this hot water on the thermometer, then maybe... Alright, thermometer, let's get this party started. Yep, looks like that's doing the trick. There goes the gauge. And now it's at the open mark. Huh, it opened. What's this? Oh, jetzt habe ich einen Ohrwurm. What's this? What's this? Das ist aus Nightmare Before Christmas. Looks like there's a piece of paper in here. 957 plus. 957 plus. That means you're supposed to add something to 957, doesn't it? Well, yeah, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. The problem is, what do you add? Moment. Hier hatten wir doch Teer drin, richtig? Irgendwie sowas. Und jetzt haben wir hier das heiße Wasser. Something that looks like tar inside the toilet bowl. If I flush the hot water from the bucket, that should clean it up. Ach nee, Moment, ich muss das hier oben reinfüllen. Okay, ich kann es nicht einfach reinkippen, wäre zu einfach. Alright, so I just pour the hot water into this tank and... Looks like you filled it. Now you should be able to flush it, right? There's probably a handle somewhere on the tank that you can pull. You think so? Serious? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ach, Moment. Right, let's flush the hot water. Well, there it goes, just like a toilet should work. Ah, 185. That stuff's washed off. Looks like that writing was numbers, see it? 185 equals? What is this? You got me. Just looks like numbers. Moment. Das, was wir haben, ist 957 plus... Ah, 957 plus 185. Okay, Moment. Das heißt, wir haben eine 2 da, 1 im Sinn, 14... Also 4, 2... Also 2, 4... 1142 müsste es sein, wenn ich das jetzt richtig gerechnet habe. Nothing happens when I press the buttons. Guess I have to get the red and blue lights to turn on first. Es fehlt noch was? Ja, ich brauche irgendwofür auch den Besen. Und irgendwofür ist das hier ja auch. Ah, Moment. Ah, ich kann das Licht ausmachen. Die Frage ist nur, was es bringt. An old message written in blood. It has LLR. Moment. Aber das Problem ist, sobald ich weggehe, passiert das automatisch. Ansonsten kann ich mir aber nichts... Irgendwas muss ich dann hier vielleicht noch anders machen. LLR, vielleicht... Ah, Moment, ich kann die Dinger auch so drehen. Bringt das irgendwas? Nö. Hier ist es nur... The pipe on the right here must be connected to the drain in the middle of the room. If you turn on the water here, it'll probably come up through the drain. Ah, okay. Das heißt jetzt eigentlich, da müsste es durchgehen. Beim Rest... Moment. Wenn ich jetzt alles wieder so bewege, passiert ja nichts. Looks like the flow of water can be controlled with these handles. We can't put any water through the pipe on the right, though. If you do that, it'll start overflowing from the drain. Ah, okay. Das heißt, wenn ich jetzt hier das eine schließe... Doing so may cause the drain to overflow. Bin ich gerade zu blöd dafür? Moment. LLR. Würde ich mal sagen, wäre normalerweise left, left, right. Aber... Das ist ja nicht richtig. Das bringt ja nichts. Kann ich hier oben irgendwo dran? Ah, Moment, hier ist noch was. A wooden box. There's something in here. Ah, Luminol. What the hell is this thing? Some kind of spray bottle? There's something written on it. Lumen. Can't read anything else. The label's all faded. Let me see that. He just grabbed it from him. That wasn't very nice. Oh, I think this is luminol. You know, forensics guys use it at crime scenes. Oh yeah, that stuff that goes blue when you spray it on blood. Even if the blood's been wiped off, it'll still glow. Ansonsten... Oh, Toilettenpapier. Moment. It's toilet paper with some kind of red symbols on it. You think maybe that's a Skytail cipher? Skytail cipher? What the hell is that? You wrap a piece of paper around a stick and then write several sentences on it so that the whole paper is filled up. Then you unwrap the paper and you can't tell what the original message was, right? That's how it works, more or less. Then to decipher it, you gotta have a stick that's the same diameter as the original one. Same diameter as the original one, huh? Yeah. Then you just wrap the paper around that stick and you can read the code. Moment. What if I wrap the toilet paper around the broom? Oh, so you wrap the toilet paper around the broom, huh? Looks like the symbols line up perfectly. It says 634 plus. Okay, wir haben also hier einen Teil des Codes. Und jetzt benutzen wir mal Luminol an dieser Stelle. Wait, you don't really think we're supposed to use the luminol here, do you? Yeah, it does seem kind of weird to use it here. But maybe I should try just in case. Jetzt machen wir mal das Licht aus. LLR, LRL. Okay. Damit haben wir nämlich die Lösung. LLR ist schon richtig. Dann LRL. So, jetzt erstmal kurz zu dem, was gerade im Chat steht. Eine Frage brennt mir schon eine Weile auf der Seele. Könntest du dir vorstellen, das Ruination-Buch von League of Legends als Hörbuch für YouTube zu machen? Das wäre richtig klasse. Da gibt es eine ganz einfache Sache. Darf ich nicht. Urheberrecht. Die Sachen, die Riot auf die eigene Seite packt, die kann man sich kostenlos ansehen. Das Buch muss man sich kaufen. Wenn ich dieses Buch also, womit Riot Geld macht, mir kaufe und dann vorlese und damit den Inhalt kostenlos zur Verfügung stelle, dann begehe ich einen Urheberrechtsbruch. Deshalb darf ich das nicht so. Und entsprechend steht das leider nicht zur Wahl. Also das kann ich leider nicht machen. Zumindest nicht, wenn ich mir nicht irgendwie dann plötzlich einen Anwalt leisten will. Oder nicht leisten will. Das ist eine Sache, auf die ich gerne verzichte. Auf kurz einen Schluck Tee. Well, it did what it said on the wall. I wonder if it actually did anything. Hey, this drain is acting up. What the hell did you do? I just messed with the valves a little. Nothing big. Ah, hier. Jumpy, the card is floating. Looks like the water floated the card up out of the drain. There must be water flowing through the pipe on the right. There's water pouring out of the drain. Ah, man kann es einfach abnehmen. Blue key card. It's the blue key card. This is the symbol for Mercury, isn't it? There was an elevator right outside the big hospital room. I think that same symbol was on the card reader next to it. That's right. I guess that means we're not supposed to use this card in this room. Do you really think so? You don't think maybe we need it for this room and for the elevator? Okay. Dann können wir das hier einmal durchziehen. Great job, Jumpy. Both of the lights are on now. Now you just need to put in the password. Ja, jetzt muss ich aber noch mal kurz überlegen, weil wir haben jetzt gleich mehrere Sachen. Schauen wir mal kurz ins... nee, das war's nicht. Ich möchte auch nicht zum Titelbildschirm zurück. Ich möchte mir noch mal mein Inventar ansehen. Das ging... Nee, das ist der... Wie komme ich noch mal ins Inventar? Y, genau. So. 957... 634... Und in der Toilette hatten wir noch, glaube ich, 185. Genau. So, bleibt das da drin? Nein, natürlich nicht. Nochmal kurz. 634. 957. 634 957 185. 634 957 185. 3. Moment. Zurück. 6, 3, 4, 9, 5, 7. Ach, Moment, ich trottel. Ich hätte hier auf Plus gehen müssen. Ja, Steuerung mit dem Gamepad. Super. 6, 3, 4 plus 7 plus 1, 8, 5 gleich 1, 7, 7, 6. Wenn ich mich jetzt auch nicht vertippt habe, bitte sag mir, dass 957 richtig war. Ja, okay. Moment. 1776, wenn ich mich recht erinnere, aber ich mach's zur Sicherheit kurz nochmal. Ich bin gerade ein bisschen durch den Wind. Ja, 1776, so. Damit haben wir's. 1776. Both lights are on. We should be able to enter the password now. What's with these E and C keys? E means enter and C means clear, I think. So after you put in the password, hit E. If you screwed up, hit C. So. Richtig. Gut. Damit hätten wir's. Damit müssen wir jetzt durch die Tür kommen. Nach einem Schluck Tee, um die Stimme zu ölen. Und es geht zurück in den, ja, in die üblichen Visual Novel Segmente. Und wenn wir jetzt mal kurz ins Flowchart schauen, sind wir jetzt hier. Das heißt, wir haben jetzt hier ein Novel-Segment und dann geht es automatisch in die Confinement Rooms, weil es keinen anderen Weg gibt, aus einem ganz einfachen Grund, weil wir hier nur eine Schlüsselkarte gefunden haben, die in allen anderen Wegen auch gefunden wird, weil Leute zusätzlich nochmal in diesen Raum gehen. Denn wir haben es ja hier, da sind ja Leute in Tür 8 und Tür 7 gegangen. Egal in welcher Reihenfolge, es führt ja wieder hierhin zurück, oder welche man selber nimmt. Und da findet man Schlüsselkarten. Und es gehen aber trotzdem Leute einfach zur Sicherheit, um Snake zu suchen, ebenfalls durch Tür 3. Das heißt, die Merkur-Karte wird immer gefunden. Aber eben auch die anderen Sachen, die anderen Schlüssel und Schlüsselkarten, die man sonst hat. Und deshalb kann man jetzt nicht mehr durch Tür 6 und Tür 1, weil diese Karten fehlen. Outside of the shower room was a hallway that extended off to the left and right.
There's a large iron door at the end.
Let's take a look.
They'd moved a few steps forward toward the door when Junpei heard the sound of metal on metal.
Huh?
They turned around. Seven was doing something to the door of the shower room.
What are you doing, Seven?
Well, I figure maybe we might want to come back here sometime. So, I stuck the broom in there to keep the door from shutting. All right, let's go.
With that, he stood up and began walking down the hallway. He brushed past Junpei and kept going. After a moment, the rest of them followed him. Before long, they found themselves at the large iron door. They had only been there for a moment when June spoke up.
Jumpy, look!
He turned. There, on the right side of the hallway, was a piece of paper attached to the wall.
What's up?
What's that on the wall there?
Oh, I think it's...
Junpei ran over and peeled it off.
a map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor, then. We'll have time to study it later. Let's keep going for now.
Junpei folded the map and stuffed it into his pocket. Back at the door, the four of them lined up in front of it. Santa stepped forward. He grabbed hold of the door and then turned to look back at the rest of them.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded. Santa nodded back and threw the door open. All 4 of them leapt through.
What the?
You're shitting me.
It took only a moment for them to realize where they were.
We're back.
They had been there only a short time ago. Oh, jetzt werden aber 2 pumpig sein. It was the large hospital room filled with countless beds. Lotus and Clover looked up as they entered. Ace was there as well, although he looked as though he had only just woken up.
Clover! Lotus! And Ace! I'm glad you're all okay. Lotus? What are you...
The moment they spotted Junpei, Lotus and Clover headed straight for him. As she neared him, Lotus drew back her hand and slapped him open-palmed across the face.
How could you do this to us?
Her face was furious.
Yeah.
She grabbed Junpei by the collar and shook him violently. Clover didn't touch him, but the hate in her eyes was no less potent. It was Seven who stopped them.
Knock it off! We got bigger shit to worry about right now.
His deep voice echoed across the massive room. Lotus glared at Seven, but let Junpei go after one last vicious shake.
What?
Go have a look.
I
stuck the screwdriver in the door. That door over there, the one without a number. As long as the screwdriver's there, it can't shut, so you can get in there. There's a shower room past there. I stuck a broom at the door there too. Anyway, go take a look.
Then you're saying we can go in there without passing through the numbered door?
Yeah, it's about the size of it.
Wait, what the hell is in there?
You'll know when you see it.
Fine, let's go.
Lotus and Clover looked at one another for a moment, then nodded and stepped through the door. By then, Ace had made his way to them, moving with the stiff, shuffling steps of someone who has only just awoken from a lengthy slumber.
My goodness. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head weakly.
Should I go as well?
Yeah.
Seven nodded.
Very well.
Ace followed Lotus and Clover with his stiff, tired gait. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the Ninth Man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it. Alone. And waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door. And then, 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seemed shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Interessant, dass ausgerechnet der sowas sagt. Wenn man bedenkt, dass der in einigen anderen Enden doch den ein oder anderen von denen auf dem Gewissen hat. Ach, Hongo, du bist einfach ein Arsch vor dem Herrn, du.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei. Was Zero still in the ship with them? Junpei wasn't sure und of course gibt es als Möglichkeiten. Momentan ist jetzt nicht allzu viel Chat-Aktivität, das heißt, ich würde das einfach über einen kleinen Würfelwurf entscheiden. Und gerade, Junpei wasn't sure, gerade, of course. Of course. Das ist vermutlich so, ne? Of course he was. That was obvious.
But I don't...
Zero was somewhere on the ship, but Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everyone went quiet, very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? Well, that's possible, oder that's crazy. Man weiß es nicht, ne? Schauen wir mal. Well, that's possible.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason.
No reason. I've got a great reason.
And what's that?
The bracelets.
He held out his left arm.
Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
Huh. You got a point.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the nonary game. All of the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why's that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. It was Santa who answered.
So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
7, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright then. I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right?
Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation.
So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero. Hence, Zero is one of us. 7 and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us.
No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives?
His motives?
Yes, isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us?
Oh, well, that's because...
Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed.
Well, so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei.
In other words, you only had circumstantial evidence.
I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know?
Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him, and their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else, to look at. Then, in that horrible silence, they heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then we need to move now. 7, Clover, Junpei. I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
You're right, but...
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say and sighed. 7 and Clover remained similarly silent. Geht doch. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is Mercury. Here we go.
They stood in front of the elevators next to the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen. Between the 2 elevators was a card reader with a Mercury symbol engraved on it. Junpei stood in front of it with a Mercury key card.
Oh, that's the...
Yeah, I found it in the shower room.
Oh, I see. It's got the Mercury symbol.
He took a deep breath and slid the card through the reader. It made a small beep, and the lights on the reader blinked to life.
Now we can go.
7 people, including Junpei, climbed onto the elevator.
Looks like there's only 2 floor buttons working.
C and bottom.
The rest were destroyed or did nothing when pushed.
Time to head down then.
Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly they began to move downward. Sometime later, all 7 of them stepped off the elevator and onto the bottom deck. They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end.
This is a numbered door.
Yeah, it's door 2.
Immediately they began to discuss who would go through it.
So who should go through the door this time?
We don't need to be discussing who we're leaving behind this time, right?
Right. It's set up so we'll be able to meet up again once we get through the numbered doors.
Then there's no need for arguments at this point.
We should figure out who's going in first.
Very well. Would anyone like to volunteer?
I'll do it.
The first to speak up was 7.
I'll go too.
And I suppose I need to go too then.
Junpei followed suit, which meant Lotus was, by default, the 3rd member. 5 plus 7 plus 8 equals 20, 2 plus 0 equals 2.
Alright, we're taking off.
Okay, please be careful.
Jesus. You 2 are acting like you're married, you know that?
Oh,
June blushed. So did Junpei.
Don't be silly. Cut it out.
Perhaps in an attempt to hide his emotions, he quickly turned away to pull the lever on the red. The door opened. As they'd come to expect, there appeared to be a short hallway on the other side.
All right, let's go.
Lotus was the first through the door.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
7 was next, and Junpei brought up the rear.
Where the hell is it this time?
I don't see it!
There it is! It's right there!
Fortunately, it took them only moments to find the dead. It had been placed just inside the room, right next to the numbered door. They gathered around it quickly scanned each of their bracelets.
It stopped.
Yeah, it stopped.
Junpei could feel his heart pounding against the inside of his ribs. 7 and Lotus were breathing hard and fast.
Man, I'll never get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
Damn right.
Alright,
Junpei looked around again.
this hallway's pretty short, but it's got 5 doors. 3 on the left, and only 1 on the right.
Don't forget the last one at the end of the hall.
But it's got a metal plate over it, so I doubt we're gonna get anywhere that way.
After taking a look around the room himself, 7 spoke.
All right, let's get started. I think we'd probably better split up. You 2 okay with that?
Yes, no problem.
Sure thing.
Then I'll take this first one.
7 nodded to them and stepped into the room closest to him.
I'll try the one next to it.
At last, Junpei was left alone.
Well, I guess I'd better get started too.
He looked intently at the remaining 3 doors. Und in diesem Raum waren wir schon mal. Ich wollte nur auf jeden Fall das Ding komplett abhaken. Die Novel Section. Denn wir sehen, hiernach geht es grundsätzlich nur weiter zum Submarine End. Aber wir haben hier noch einen weiteren Weg. Wir sind ja hier durch Tür 8 gegangen, wir können noch durch Tür 7. Und das möchte ich heute auch noch schaffen. Das heißt, Wir gehen auf Skip, bis wir die Wahl haben, durch Tür 7 zu gehen. So, Door 7 bitte.
I think I'm gonna go with door 7.
Okay, 7 it is.
Yeah.
All right then. That means June's got to go through 8.
What? Why?
What?
Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it.
Plan A.
Have 3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8.
Ja, das kennen wir im Grunde schon. Plan B.
4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8.
Plan C.
Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
Oh no. You're saying we aren't going to see each other again for a long time.
Hör mal, ihr habt euch Jahre nicht gesehen, da wird eine Stunde schon nichts ausmachen. Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are done, right?
He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 8 and Clover can take 7. Any problems with that, Clover?
Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Clover, 7, and Junpei walked toward door 7. Santa, Lotus, and June headed for door 8. For a long moment they stood in front of the door. 7 took a deep breath.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
It's open.
A narrow hallway stretched out before them. 7 and Clover leapt through the door.
Let's do this!
Hurry!
The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators on the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his right, toward door 8. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met. They nodded.
June.
Jumpy.
Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds.
What the hell are you doing, Junpei?
Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
Only 81 seconds left! No time to waste, guys! Let's get moving!
7 led the way down the hallway. Junpei and Clover followed him as fast as they could. After what seemed like far more than 81 seconds, they reached the end of the hall.
Look! The door on the left! I can see the dead!
There was no time to rest or catch their breath. All 3 slammed their hands in quick succession over the scanner panel on the dead. Still trying to catch his breath, 7 leaned heavily against the wall.
It stopped. It stopped.
His smile seemed forced and a little crooked.
This is the second time we've gone through one of these numbered doors, but... whew, you never really get used to it.
He stood up straight, no longer out of breath, and wiped some of the sweat from his head and neck. Clover smirked at him.
I would have thought a guy your size would have bigger balls than that.
What? What the hell did you just say? Say it again! I dare you!
Ach, ganz im Ernst, da muss man sich nur einen Typen ansehen, auch einen, ich bin ja Critical Role-Fan, und da gibt's ja Travis Willingham, ziemlich großen Kerl mit einer tiefen Stimme und allem, also so der vom Aussehen der klassische Maskulinste der Truppe, und der ist so ein Schisser, das ist der Hammer. Das ist wundervoll, sobald es irgendwo gruselig wird, dann kommt er einfach überhaupt nicht mehr klar. Ach, es ist schön. Da sieht man mal wieder, Männlichkeit hat nicht, also generell finde ich ein total bescheuertes Konzept, aber so Sachen wie Mut und sowas hat nicht zwingend was mit Größe zu tun.
You have no...
You little... You wanna die?
I'd like to see you try.
You fucking brat! Alright, let's go!
Hey, calm down, guys. This isn't the time for this. It's not gonna do us any good.
Junpei sighed. Sometimes he wondered if the doors and the puzzles were really the greatest challenge they faced.
Wait here for a minute, alright? I'm gonna go see if there are any other doors.
They didn't respond, but Junpei wasn't in the mood for a conversation anyway.
We just came through this door. And of course it's shut tight.
There's a short hallway on the left here. And an iron wall. I doubt I can get through it.
At last he gave up and returned to 7, who was tapping lightly on the wooden door.
This door's the only option we've got, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Hey, something's written on the door. On that iron plate.
It says operating room. If this thing's telling the truth, there could be body parts inside here.
Well, this is probably not going to be pleasant.
Something about it made Junpei feel nervous.
Well, there's no point to standing around. Might as well go in and see what's waiting for us.
7 grabbed the brass knob and slowly opened the door. The creak of the hinge sounded like the groan of an old woman.
What's wrong?
No, it's nothing.
A chill snaked its way down Junpei's spine.
Let's just go.
Quickly he gathered what courage he could and took the first step into the room. 7 followed, with Clover right behind him.
Huh?
Part of the room just past the door was obscured by a screen.
What the hell is this?
Why don't we take a look?
Hey, Clover.
Clover's curiosity got the better of her, and she darted past Junpei to peer around the screen. Her scream nearly blew out Junpei's eardrums.
What? Clover!
He and Seven ran toward Clover to see what had frightened her.
Hey, what's wrong?
They rounded the screen, and the cause of her outburst was immediately clear.
What the hell is this?
Is this a corpse?
It was something that looked kind of like a human, lying across some sort of bed. No, not a bed. An operating table. The table sat on a rusty steel lift, and a cluster of bright operating lights shone down on it from the ceiling.
We should probably take a closer look.
Yeah.
Slowly they approached. As they got closer to the body, it became clear that it wasn't a body at all.
This is...
What the hell? That's just a huge doll or something.
Ich möchte kurz anmerken, das Herz sitzt nicht an dieser Stelle. Aber gut.
Doll?
Clover did not look terribly comforted. Slowly she approached the operating table and looked as intently as possible from as far away as possible at the thing. Junpei could see her relax.
You're right. It's only a doll. Man, it really scared me.
She heaved a great sigh of relief and wiped a few drops of sweat from her forehead. Seven smirked.
Well, I guess it would have been weird if you actually had any balls.
Shut it! Don't you start with me, fatty!
Oh, what's this? You want a piece of me, short stuff?
Yeah, bring it on, you whale!
Hey, guys, not again, okay? Seriously, knock it off. Jeez. Anyway, it looks like he's got something the two of you could stand to have a little more of. I'm talking about a heart.
Huh? Oh, this? You mean on his chest?
Yeah.
It was set a little higher than normal for a human body, but from the shape of the organ, there could be no doubt that it was a heart.
Why would there be a heart in a doll?
Streng genommen sitzt das Ding auch zu weit links, weil, also es sitzt versetzt nach links oben, was nicht gesund wäre. Also das Herz liegt verhältnismäßig mittig mit so einem leichten Hang nach links. Aber es liegt halt vor allem nicht so weit oben, das liegt nicht unterm Schlüsselbein.
I don't think it's a doll.
You think maybe it's like a medical mannequin or something?
Or maybe it's got more personal uses?
Seven's grin was more than a little perverted. Clover glared at him.
Anyway, how about we take a look around this place? Let's go.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Man sieht, es gibt sehr viele Teilbereiche dieses Raums. Darauf trinke ich erstmal die Tasse leer. War ohnehin nur noch lauwarm. Aber gut, Operating Room. Das ist jetzt einer der umfangreicheren Escape Rooms. These doors are really kind of creepy, you know? Hey, it says something here. John? You think that's this doll's name? Maybe. This thing is creepy. I wonder why it's on the bed. Hey, I wonder what this thing is. It says KG on the display. You think maybe it's a scale? Kann ich irgendwas machen? There's some sort of lid on this thing. Why don't you try opening it? Can't, there's no handle. I can't get under it with my nails either. Das Ding ansehen kann ich mir auch nicht. Creepy medical mannequin is lying on the bed. Apparently his name is John. A white cloth. Sonst kann ich mir, glaube ich, nichts ansehen. Na doch. An operating table. Do you think old operating tables look like this? I have no idea. Was haben wir denn hier? Oh, das Ding sieht blutig aus. Coach of Forceps, okay. Are those scissors? They look kind of funny.
No, that's probably a pair of Coach of Forceps. Surgeons use them during operations. They can hold blood vessels shut and keep tissue out of the way.
Also das sind Klammern.
We can use it to pull stuff out of small holes or something like that.
A bunch of surgical tools. Mehr kann ich hier wohl nicht brauchen. Oh.
This bed doesn't look very comfortable.
Another medical mannequin?
From the looks of it, this one's a chick.
She has a name too. Lucy.
Poor thing. Looks like Miss Lucy only has a head and a left arm.
Maybe we're supposed to gather all her parts? There's some kind of device attached to the bed. It says kilogram on the panel. Is this a scale?
What's this thing? It's got these short iron legs.
Maybe it's a heater. There's nothing inside it. Okay. Das ist dann wohl ein Torso. Fake chest. Ew, that's gross.
That's the chest. It's a woman's chest. The heart's gone, but it's pretty hot.
If that kind of thing turns you on, Seven, you're a real creepo. Ja, das stimmt. Maybe you're supposed to heat something like that gauze to kill the bacteria? There's a boiling thingy over there. There's nothing on the lid or the drawers. There are a whole bunch of bottles on the shelves. They all look like medicine. They've got labels, but they're all big medical words that I don't understand. There's a lot of different kinds of medication. It's hard to tell them apart. That's a lot of medicine.
I wonder if one of these is a laxative.
Yeah, it sounds kind of gross, but I'm pretty sure every one of us had the same idea. If we had some laxative, maybe we could crap out the bomb Zero put in us. Unfortunately...
Damn it. I don't know what medicine does what here.
The drawer is empty. Yeah, nothing here, nothing there, so. Hier kann man rumgucken, aber schauen wir erstmal hier. A medical mannequin with its guts showing. Ew. Gross.
Hey, Junpei. There's a slit in this thing's chest.
Yeah, sure is.
There's something in there. Maybe we can get it out. Damn it, stinking thing won't budge. It's stuck.
Well, I guess you can't use force on this one then. We need something small that can fit into that little hole. Ja, aber hier. Erstmal fake organ. So we took the organ thingy out of the chest thingy.
It's a lung, not an organ thingy.
Huh? This part here on the back, it's all rubbery.
Oh, you're right.
So it's a fake organ, of course it'd be... Wait, what's Seven grabbing it for?
Hey, it feels like there's something in here.
You think you can cut through the rubber part? The organ we took out of the chest. Part of the back of it is a little rubbery. It feels like there's something inside it. If we can cut the thing open, we should be able to get whatever is inside. Okay, das heißt, damit haben wir jetzt auch das schon verbraucht. Gut, was haben wir hier? Oh. That's a lot of surgery stuff.
There's some scalpels, a few pairs of forceps, and a couple syringes. All of it's too rusty to be useful, though.
Hey, there's a scalpel here that looks new. Kurzen Schluck nochmal getrunken. Inzwischen wird der Tee ja sehr schnell kalt. Scalpel.
A scalpel that's not rusty.
Seems like it was put here for a reason, huh? You think it's telling us to cut something? Yeah, I do. Let's try cutting this organ with a scalpel. Organschlüssel, okay. There's a key in this organ. Found a key in an internal organ. Nee, found a key in an internal organ. Das klingt irgendwie nicht so schön. Dann schauen wir uns mal hier um. Ah, da passt der Schlüssel. Awesome, it's unlocked. Oha. There's a note on top of the table. Iron 1, Salt 2, Water 3. Carbon dioxide? Fragezeichen Ammonia? Fragezeichen Ethanol? Fragezeichen. What do you think this is a hint for? Maybe it's got something to do with this box? Yep. Es ist ziemlich simpel. Es hat was mit der Anzahl der Atome in den jeweiligen Verbindungen zu tun. Eisen ist einfach nur Fe, 1. Salz ist NaCl, 2. Wasser ist H2O, 3. Kohlenstoffdioxid, CO2, sind wieder 3. Ammoniak ist NH3, wäre 4. Und Ethanol ist C2H5OH. C2H5 sind wir schon mal bei 7, OH sind wir bei 9. Aber wir werden, glaube ich, dafür auch Strukturformeln und sowas finden. Was haben wir denn hier? Blue Liquid. It looks like there's something inside that bottle. Why don't you try pouring out some out into the cap? Can't see any reason why not. What's that? It's bright blue. Do you think it's alien blood?
Where the hell did that come from?
Then what do you think it is, 7?
I don't know, some sort of special bath soap.
What a boring guess. Red liquid. Looks like there's something inside that bottle.
Why don't you try pouring some out into the cap?
Can't see any reason why not. What's that? It's bright red. Do you think it's blood?
No, blood's thicker than that.
Then what is it?
Beats me.
Schauen wir uns mal weiter um. Hey Junpei, do you think there are any slugs on this ship? Huh? Well, if there are, I was thinking we could put salt on them. What's she pointing at? The label states NaCl. Salt, huh? Do you think 7 will shrivel up if we put it on him?
Hey, you say something?
There's a bottle of salt on the shelf. The label says NaCl. Junpei, there's a bottle of iron powder on the shelf. How do you know it's iron? The label says Fe. Steht für Ferrum, lateinisch für Eisen. Fe stands for iron, right? Something stinks. Is it coming from this bottle? It says NH3, yeah, ammoniak.
Well, that of course stinks. It's ammonia.
Ich überlege gerade, Ammoniak, also man kann auf jeden Fall relativ simpel eine Art Stinkebombe basteln mit ein bisschen Ammoniumsalz und einem guten, Oxidationsmittel. Also, wenn man sowas dann zusammengibt mit beispielsweise, sagen wir mal, ja, wobei es muss natürlich ein gutes Mittel sein. Am ehesten vermutlich ein sehr unedles Metall, also sowas wie Zink müsste gehen, weil dann reduziert das Ammonium zu Ammoniak und geht selbst die Bindung ein, aber gut.
Oh, good stuff. Let's go for a drink.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about that bottle. It says C2H5OH, right?
It's ethanol.
That's right. It's also known as ethyl alcohol. It's pretty much what booze is made of.
So, you're gonna drink it?
Nah, I won't. It might say that's what's on. It might say that that's what it is on the label, but there could be anything in there. Hey Junpei, there's dihydrogen monoxide on the shelf.
Why don't you just say water? What's this?
Looks like a can with spray nozzle. It says CO2.
So it's a can filled with carbon dioxide. Yep. Dann lösen wir das Ganze mal. CO2 haben wir 3, Ammoniak haben wir 4 und Ethanol hatten wir 9, wenn ich mich recht erinnere. The box is locked. Looks like you have to enter a passcode on the keypad to open it. I can only enter 3 numbers. E is for enter and C is clear. Once you input the number, press E. If you mess up, press C. Let's give it a shot. So. 3. 4. 9. Enter. Oh. Fake right arm. It's the right arm of the body. It's kinda creepy. Fake heart. A heart. This thing is super creepy.
This ain't good for the heart.
Gut, dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir doch mal zurück. Oh,
You think we should go back?
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
Clover nodded and left. Junpei was about to follow her when he realized that Seven wasn't following suit.
Hey, Seven, what's up?
Oh, well,
He looked up at Junpei distractedly, and then back down at the brown bottle he held cupped in his large hands.
Is that a medicine bottle?
I got curious about it. Here.
In response, Seven tossed the bottle gently to Junpei. He caught it and twisted it around to read the label.
Ethylene diamine tartrate?
Oh, Moment. Ich hätte irgendwann mal sagen können, was das ist.
Yeah, that's right. CDT.
What kind of medicine is that?
It's not medicine. I think it's an industrial strength detergent.
Rate.
Why would they have something like that here?
Well, probably to clean stuff up.
Clean what up?
Fuck if I know. Still, it looks like it's cleaned my brain up.
Junpei looked up from the bottle.
You remember something?
Yeah.
Seven nodded slowly and spoke.
Well, I remember a story about EDT. Happened about 50 years ago. There was this factory somewhere in America making big old EDT crystals. They were making it to sell as an industrial strength cleaner, like I told you before. But a year after the factory started up, something strange started happening with the crystals they were building. Water molecules started attaching themselves to the EDT crystals. This made them into a sort of mutation of the original crystals, called a hydrate.
Ich möchte kurz anmerken, das ist keine Sache, die einfach so passiert. Es gibt Wasser in der Luft. Wenn man zum Beispiel sowas wie... Nehmen wir einfach mal als Beispiel Kupfersulfat. CuSO4. Kupfersulfat zum Beispiel ist als normales Salz einfach nur rein weiß. Nennt man dann auch Kupfervitriol, wenn ich mich recht erinnere. Allerdings, sobald Wasser in der Nähe ist, also speziell Wassermoleküle in der Luft, die lagern sich dann in das Kristallgitter ein und dann wird es blau. Und das ist wirklich so ein richtig krasses Blau, was das Zeug dann annimmt, Kupfersulfat. Das passiert auch, wenn man dann so einen Tropfen Wasser auf das Salz drauf gibt und da drin verteilt. Dann wird das plötzlich auf einen Schlag einfach blau. Und deshalb löst sich das Salz lustigerweise auch blau. Aber, naja. Hydrate sind nichts Ungewöhnliches. Sehr, sehr viele Substanzen sind halt normalerweise hydriert. Es gibt aber auch Anhydrate. Also wenn man dann zum Beispiel das Wasser rausdampfen lässt. Dann hat man eben Kupfersulfat-Anhydrat. Das wäre dann Kupfervitriol. Also ich meine, man nennt es so. Kann sein, dass ich mich damit irre.
Once the crystals turn into a hydrate, though, it's useless as a cleaner.
Warum?
The factory had to just dump the crystals. As a hydrate, they were useless. But it didn't end there. After that day, the same thing started happening in EDT factories everywhere, even ones nowhere near that first American factory. They'd been making crystals the same way, with the same materials and the same equipment and environment. But now, all of a sudden, every single crystal they formed turned into a hydrate. In fact, ever since that day, no factory anywhere has been able to make a pure EDT crystal. Even in EDT research done years before, they'd never gotten a hydrate. But after it happened at the first factory, it just spread. It was like, man, how do you say it?
like the molecules were communicating with one another, transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive.
Ich suche jetzt einfach im Internet mal nach EDT. So. Wikipedia, was hast du mir dazu zu sagen? Abkürzung bitte. Nein, nicht Eastern Daylight Time. Auch nicht Eau de Toilette, bitte. Moment. Elektronische Datenverarbeitung, was? Nein. Es war Ethyl irgendwas Tartrat. Moment. Ich suche einfach mal nach Tartrate. Schauen, ob ich dazu was finde. Tartrate sind ja Salze und Ester der Weinsäure. Dann schaue ich mal. Ethyl. Die Methylamid, nee, findet man da nicht. Moment. Schauen wir nochmal kurz, dass wir hier weit hochgehen. Wie hieß das Zeug? Ethylendiamin. Okay. Ethylendiamin-Tetraessigsäure. Diamin. Ich schaue erstmal nach Ethylendiamin. Komm. Ach, Ethylendiamin ist einfach... Ja, klar, hätte ich mir denken können. Das ist quasi 2 C-Atome und jeweils eine Aminogruppe an beiden Seiten. Und als Tartrat ist dann das noch verbunden mit eben Weinsäure, also mit einem Weinsäureanion. Interessant. Aber gut, werde ich jetzt nicht zu lange mit mich aufhalten, weil ich glaube, ich bin der Einzige, der sich hier gerade so sehr für Naturwissenschaft begeistert, weil, naja. Aber ich schaue noch mal kurz, ob ich dazu was finde. Ethylendiamintartrat. Einfach nur, dass ich mal ganz kurz... Ah, okay. Ich bin mal bei PubChem zum Beispiel. Okay. Ah, okay. Ja, das ist ein Salz. Kein Wunder, dass es ein Kristall bildet. Steht da irgendwas zu den Eigenschaften? Nö, gerade nicht. Spielt aber auch keine große Rolle. Ethylendiamintartrat, ja.
This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Junpei looked up at Seven with half a smirk. Seven stared at him, dumbfounded.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But how did you know?
I heard another story, kind of like that one.
Da gehe ich mal kurz zurück, weil wir hatten ja hier ähnliche Sachen in Gesprächen. The Knife, Freezer, Dry Ice. Zum Beispiel die Sache mit Moment, Map with Ship, Match, Plate on Shelf. Da war das die Sache mit... War das Glycerin? Ich weiß nicht mehr. Auf jeden Fall...
When?
Ja.
In the freezer?
Ah ja, nee, genau da war das.
What? The freezer?
Yeah, June told me.
Junpei told Seven the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. Die Glycerinkristalle, richtig? How one day glycerine began to crystallize. And the story of ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. When Junpei was done, Seven looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed the scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh?
That sounds familiar?
Yeah, hold up. I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
Seven squinted. His eyes stared off into space, as if he were trying desperately to focus on something far away.
Do you?
It's know something about it or know about Ice 9. Na, also momentan sind keine Zuschauer da, das heißt, es wirft wirklich einfach aus, was wir da sagen. Know something about it.
Know something about it?
I told you I think I do. Just hold on. It was...
Seven thought hard and mumbled to himself. After a few minutes, he gave up.
Damn it! Why'd you have to ask me some dumbass question? I totally lost my train of thought.
Sorry, man.
As Junpei was trying to figure out what on earth he was going to say next, Clover's shrill voice pierced the room.
Hey, what are you two doing over there? Stop wasting time and get over here.
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez.
Seven looked at Junpei.
Oh well. Look, if I remember anything, I'll let you know, alright? Right now we need to get the hell out of this room though, okay?
With that, he turned and left. Junpei, his mind still occupied with the story Seven had told him, slowly followed. Okay, wir haben jetzt auf jeden Fall einiges mitgenommen, sag ich mal. Wir können aber auch noch hier rumgehen und uns mal umgucken. Preparation Room. Oh, it's locked. Okay, dann können wir das nicht. Dann schauen wir, dass wir vielleicht mal hier ein bisschen was ablegen. An old hard bed. Ah ja, hier, this is head and arms. Maybe something will happen if we gather all of our body parts. Kann ich hier vielleicht das schon mal hinlegen? Old hard bed? Nee. Kann ich vielleicht das kombinieren? Medical Mannequin, ja. Nö, kann ich nicht. Ach Moment, kann der Schlüssel vielleicht auch die andere Tür öffnen? Tatsache. Cool, it's unlocked. Obwohl, ich wollte erstmal hier kurz gucken. Die Sachen kann ich mir nicht ansehen. Hier ist nichts, ich kann hier nur rumgehen. Aber was haben wir hier? Let's see if a piece of paper. What's this? Is this some kind of medical record? New material has been added to the file screen. Schauen wir doch mal rein. Die File war... Nein. Hier. Medical record. A medical record found in the preparation room. It has records for the two mannequins. There's a male mannequin named John and a female named Lucy. The record shows each mannequin's total weight and the weight of their individual parts. Okay. Moment, Lucy wiegt mehr? Na gut, warum nicht? Die Frage ist nur, warum wiegen die Beine so unterschiedlich viel? Ach, egal. Schauen wir uns weiter um. Was ist das denn? Erstmal hier vielleicht? Ah.
What the hell are you doing? Don't you want to get out of here?
But I'm tired. Was haben wir denn hier? Oh, eine Lampe. Können wir auch abschalten. Was haben wir hier? I found a beaker. There are 4 different lights, each one a different color. White, red, blue and purple. Does this thing react to something and then the lights light up? Schalten wir mal an. Ah, jetzt ist das Weiße an. The white light on the top is glowing. Yeah, but the red, blue and purple ones still aren't lit. Okay, wir haben doch hier zum Beispiel eine rote Flüssigkeit und eine blaue Flüssigkeit. Nehmen wir erstmal die rote. Hey, it turned red.
Forget about that. Didn't you hear that just now?
Beaker with the red liquid in it. It makes the light that passed through it red. Nehmen wir mal das blaue. Let's put in the blue liquid next. I'll put the red liquid in the back in the bottle. Ah, okay.
Hey, the blue light turned on.
And I heard a noise. It sounded like something unlocking. Moment, schauen wir uns vielleicht erstmal um. Ah. Fake right leg. The right foot of the medical mannequin. I guess it's a woman's foot, but damn. Doesn't look hot at all. Und es war 7.
Damn, doesn't look hot at all.
Have you got a thing for feet, 7?
No, that's crazy.
You're sure acting kinda shady. Das ist auch so eine Sache. Also ich verstehe einen Fußfetisch nicht, aber ich verstehe auch nicht, warum Leute was dagegen haben. Fake left leg. This is the left foot of the mannequin. Do you think I'm better? What? Do you think my legs are skinnier? Seit wann geht's um Skinny? Ganz im Ernst. Thick Thighs save lives, ne? Wer kennt es nicht? Locker with a purple plate on it. It's locked. Okay, das heißt, jetzt müssen wir hier wohl blau und rot einmal mischen. Ach, jetzt habe ich wieder... Moment, gehen wir erstmal auf blau. So. Und Licht an.
I get it. You combined the red liquid and the blue liquid to make a purple one.
Das würde mit Licht aber eigentlich nicht so funktionieren, aber okay. Good job, Junpei. The purple light came on and I heard it unlock. I'm sure it's unlocked. The locker with the purple plate has gotta be unlocked. Alright, let's see what happened. Fake stomach. This is a really big nose. Oh, this is a really big nose.
That's no nose. It's a stomach.
Oh. Stomach. Was haben wir denn hier?
A sink. The doctors and nurses probably washed their hands here before our operation. Nothing suspicious here.
Okay. Oh, Moment, was haben wir denn hier? It's locked. It won't even budge. Do you think this is the exit? Ja, wir sehen hier auf jeden Fall ein Symbol. Wenn ich das richtig in Erinnerung habe, ist das Jupiter.
What's this? A light switch? Doesn't seem to be working.
Okay. Dann also wieder raus hier. Hoppla, was? So, geht doch. Jetzt müssten wir nämlich alle Teile haben. Bauen wir uns eine Lucy. An old hard bed. Okay, so we've collected the 6 parts of the medical mannequin. So the ones we've got must be for Lucy, right? Yeah.
Seems like it.
Well, I say we give Lucy her parts back. Any objections? Nope.
Agreed.
Alright, let's get started. Combine! Kurzen Schluck nochmal getrunken. Hey, nothing happened.
That's odd. Maybe it's the wrong weight.
Nee, maybe it's the wrong weight. Weight? Yeah, well, you know how there's a scale on the side of the bed. Maybe we need to get the scale to a specific number.
How are we gonna do that?
I think we're supposed to swap her body parts with John's. Oh.
Let's give it a shot.
Operating instructions. The screen will display 2 medical mannequins. You can switch the body parts by selecting the part you want to switch out. Okay. Ich kann jetzt leider nicht zurück in den vorherigen Bildschirm, aber wenn ich jetzt hier zum Beispiel sage, ich wechsle mal. Moment, ich gehe mal kurz auf Back. No dice, I think if we knew the weight of each part, we could figure it out. Ich will noch mal kurz zurück in den File. So, Medical Record. Ich brauche 53,2 auf der einen Seite, 51,3 auf der anderen. Oder wir können mal kurz durchgehen. Was muss schwerer sein? Also was müssen wir wahrscheinlich dann austauschen? Ach, wisst ihr was? Ich schreibe es mir jetzt einfach mal kurz an der Seite auf, dass ich weiß, was ich für ein Gewicht erreichen muss. So, das heißt... Da werde ich dann einfach ein bisschen rumprobieren, damit klappt das schon. So, wir haben 51,3 auf der einen Seite und 53,2 auf der anderen Seite. Das luppt schon. Mit Hint brauche ich jetzt nicht. Komm, das kriege ich hin. So. Also wir haben momentan 53,5. Das heißt, hier muss ein bisschen Masse runter. Damit wären wir bei 52,9. Immer noch nicht ganz. Vielleicht ein Bein. 52,5 ist immer noch zu viel. 52,0 ist streng genommen immer noch zu viel. Was ist mit dem Herz? 51,7 ist immer noch ein bisschen viel. Der Arm? 51,2, jetzt sind wir zu wenig. Geben wir den Arm zurück und nehmen mal hier den Brustbereich. Dann sind wir 21,5. Ist immer noch ein bisschen viel. Das heißt, wir müssen auf jeden Fall den Arm austauschen. Jetzt schauen wir, was wir dann zurückbringen. 51,6 ist zu viel. Hier ein Bein, 21,4 und 51,5. Okay, passt noch nicht ganz. Wir müssen auf 51,3 kommen. Moment, das hier war 51,5. 51,4. 51,5. 51,6. Ach, Moment, können wir das Herz einfach nehmen? Das müsste vielleicht reichen. Ja.
Hey Junpei, I just heard something. It came from John's operating table. We better check it out.
Yep, machen wir. So. Huh? The lid on the scale. Hey, it opened. Oh, I get it. It must have opened because we matched John's weight to what's on the chart. Jupiter key. There's a mark engraved on this key. I think it's the Jupiter symbol. Aber eigentlich interessant, dass jetzt John quasi alle weiblichen Körperteile hat, nur das Herz nicht. Und Lucy genau umgekehrt, bis halt auf den jeweiligen Kopf. Kann man da eine Trans-Allegorie drin sehen? Ich weiß es nicht.
Hey, hold on.
Junpei stopped, about to put the key into the doorknob.
Oh, what's up?
Where's Clover?
Huh?
Junpei turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen. Ich gehe mal kurz ins Flowchart. Nee, wir können hier gerade noch nicht sehen, was da ist. Okay.
Oh, god damn it. Where the hell did she go? Okay, just hold on a minute. I'll go get her.
Sure thing.
Junpei left Seven at the door and headed back to the operating room. He found her standing next to the operating table. She was staring at the mannequin.
Hey, Clover, what's wrong? Come on, let's get out of here.
She didn't respond. If she hadn't been standing up and breathing, Junpei might have thought she was dead.
What are you doing? Did you want to come back here and say goodbye to John?
It wasn't the best joke, but it was something, an attempt to lighten the mood. Clover didn't laugh. She stood stock still and said nothing.
Hey, Clover, can you hear me?
Perhaps it was something he'd said, or perhaps it was something else. Suddenly her mouth opened and she whispered in a dry, dead voice.
My brother might be dead.
Huh?
That's why we couldn't find him. If he's dead, I'm going to be next.
Suddenly, the operating room felt very, very cold.
What are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
He gave her a small shake, but she still didn't respond. The silence grew heavier. Junpei, what do you want to do? Told Clover they needed to leave oder gave her the 4-leaf clover? Da momentan immer noch nichts im Chat los ist, muss ich wieder würfeln. Und wir geben ihr das hier.
Oh yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier.
It's in my pocket somewhere. Here it is.
He reached into his pocket and dug it out.
A 4-leaf clover.
Das haben wir bekommen von Santa. Santa had given it to him in the second classroom. He held it out to Clover.
Hey, did you know? Each leaf means something. Hope, faith, love, and luck. That's what a 4-leaf clover stands for. Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
Ich sag mal so, auf Glauben kann ich verzichten. Ich glaube, ich bleib bei 3-blättrigen Kleeblättern.
Listen to me, Clover.
Moment, was war da eben noch? He pressed the 4-leaf clover into her hand. Das hätte ich noch vorlesen müssen.
No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck. Snake, I mean, your brother, he's not dead. He's alive, somewhere. I'm sure of it. You've just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the four-leaf clover in her hand. He could see tears start to form at the corners of her eyes.
Thank you.
Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away tears with the baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small wet circles on the floor.
Thank you.
She said it again. Then she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage.
Now come on. Seven's waiting for us at the exit.
But still, she didn't move.
Wait, before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
For a moment his mind froze. Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him, aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh. I guess it was just a coincidence then. I mean, that you knew about the four-leaf clover.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
Oh, no. It's nothing. Just forget about it.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away. The four-leaf clover was still in her hand. She stared at it for a long moment, and then finally spoke.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Cross my heart.
Really?
Really?
I can trust you, right?
Of course you can.
Clover slipped the four-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying, she looked up at Junpei.
Okay then, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on this ship 9 years ago.
Und hier möchte ich anmerken, das ist, weil wir ein paar gewisse Schlüssel schon gesammelt haben. Interessant, aber naja, schauen wir mal, wie es weitergeht.
Wait. On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
He was entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best he thought to save them until Clover had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing. Communicating through these fields that you can't see.
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Like, think about this.
She pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
Huh?
All Junpei could think was she has finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke's socks? Or the ship of Theseus?
Jetzt, okay, es gibt gerade eine Frage im Chat. Guten Abend erstmal zurück. Auch mal Lore-Videos zu Events. Da es da wenig gibt, wo ich viel zu erzählen kann, eher weniger. Vor allem, weil ich diese Events häufig selber gar nicht mal so intensiv spiele, da ich halt selber nicht viel League of Legends zocke, daher eher nicht. Also vor allem, man hat halt auch wenig die Möglichkeit, zu den Events zurückzugehen, wenn die einmal waren. Das heißt, es muss so sein, wenn die kommen, muss ich mich direkt darum kümmern. Das ist quasi, wie es aussieht. Und das ist ein Stress, den ich mir eigentlich gar nicht machen möchte. Ich gehe die Storys durch, soweit ich sie mitbekomme. Schau eventuell mal rein, aber ich denke nicht, dass ich das zu den Events was machen werde. Vor allem, weil die Events auch oft einfach nicht gut sind. Also das Ruination-Event war ziemliche Grütze. Aber gut, jetzt Locks Socken und das Schiff des Theseus. Das sind sehr interessante Gedankenexperimente übrigens. Junpei grew even more confused. He'd never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
You don't know? You haven't heard of those paradoxes?
No?
Junpei shook his head.
Really?
Clover laughed.
Okay, well, pay attention then. This is how Lock's socks works. Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
Patch it up oder throw it away. Würfel sagt, patch it up.
Well, I guess I'd patch it up. Get some cloth and close up the hole.
But what if another hole opens?
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Another patch, I guess?
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches. Until eventually, the original cloth of the sock is totally gone. Once you get to that point, can you really say they're the same socks you started with?
Well, that's tough.
Junpei crossed his arms.
So, that's the locked socks thing?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus is a lot like it. The ship of Theseus. If you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that ship is the same one you started with? And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus? The one you repaired, or the one you built with all the original parts?
Und das ist tatsächlich ein sehr interessantes Gedankenexperiment, denn da kann man sich dann fragen, woher kommt die Gesamtidentität der Einzelteile? Und wie viel von den Einzelteilen braucht man noch, damit das gleich bleibt? Und ich sag mal so, ich halte so diese Gesamtidentität für etwas ziemlich Arbiträres. Das ist etwas, was für uns als Konzept hilft, um die Dinge zu identifizieren, aber selbst wenn wir uns mal betrachten, jeden Tag sind wir ein etwas anderer Mensch. Ganz minimal. Aber existiert zum Beispiel das Kind noch, das wir einmal waren? Ziemlich sicher nicht. Dieses Kind ist aber auch nicht wirklich gestorben, es ist aber einfach nicht mehr da. Und es gibt auch keinen Weg zurück dahin. Und daher finde ich es zum Beispiel so interessant, dass man eine Gesamtidentität behält, auch wenn sich das, was diese Identität beschreibt, permanent verändert. Man merkt, dass ich Philosophie im Abi hatte. Ich habe es nicht studiert, aber trotzdem, es ist ein faszinierendes Thema, wenn man mal so drüber nachdenkt. Aber ich gehe da jetzt nicht zu weit rein. Am Ende landen wir noch irgendwie bei ganz krassen Abschweifungen Richtung Postmodernismus oder sowas. It was an interesting question. Clover could see Junpei was intrigued.
Hey, do you think it's the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Junpei looked at the operating table again. A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like Locke's socks and the ship of Theseus. The part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart or in under the number of internal organs. Stimmt, die Griechen zum Beispiel dachten, das Hirn wäre eine Art Organ, um das Blut zu kühlen, und das Herz wäre, womit man denkt. Was natürlich nicht stimmt. And there they had both.
John's head and heart are both his. But apart from those, and a single arm, the rest of his body was once Lucy's.
Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die and new ones are born. Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once.
Ziemlich sicher.
Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate.
Mit absoluter Sicherheit.
If you take it a little further.
Aber streng genommen kann man auch sagen, dass alle Kohlenstoffatome von unseren Körpern irgendwo herkommen und man will häufig nicht wissen, wo die schon alles drin waren.
Those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right? That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
Und das ist Blödsinn. Aber es gehört zu dieser Story. The silence was broken by Seven.
Hey, what the hell is taking you two so long?
Seven's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of Seven. Seven seemed to catch on.
Oh? What were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret meeting?
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed toward the exit. Seven stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
You're a dick.
Junpei dashed past him and traced Clover's path out of the door. With a short laugh, Seven followed. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key.
All right, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
You don't need to keep asking, just do it, alright?
Fine then.
He slid the key into the keyhole and turned it. He felt it unlock. The door opened with a soft, melancholy creak. Beyond it lay a simple white hallway. There was no fanfare or confetti. Obviously, there was no one there to applaud them. They simply walked through the door. That was it.
All right, let's get going.
Hey man, what's up with you? You're so serious, you know? Can't you sound more happy, you know, get a little excited?
Not really.
Junpei turned away from Seven and took his first step down the simple white hallway.
My brother might be dead. I'm going to be next.
Clover had told him only a few minutes before that her brother was probably dead, and she was likely to follow him.
Like hell I can. Not after hearing something like that.
So, und damit sind wir aus dem Raum raus. They left the operating room. The hallway took them around several corners and past several doors, but they were all locked. Jetzt schauen wir noch mal kurz hier rein. Wir sehen, wir haben leider einen Schlüssel verpasst. Aber das ist nicht schlimm. Und jetzt sehen wir auch plötzlich hier eine Reihe von Schlüsseln, die wir vorher noch gar nicht kriegen konnten. Aber wir machen erstmal das hier fertig, bis wir wieder an dem Punkt sind, wo das konvergiert. Und dann mache ich für heute Schluss.
There too, huh? Every door in this place is locked up tight.
How about that one?
The final door was hidden in a corner of the hall.
May as well give it a try.
Junpei grabbed the handle. As he made to push it open, a voice stopped him. The voice came from behind him and belonged to neither Seven nor Clover.
Jumpy!
Huh?
He spun around. He saw someone running toward him from the other end of the hallway. There were 3 people coming toward Junpei and his companions.
June? And Santa? And Lotus too?
They pulled up short in front of Junpei, breathing hard.
Whoa! What the hell is this?
What are you doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Look on the wall here.
There was something on the wall at the end of the hallway.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says sea deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7 and door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
In fact,
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the nonary game works.
I see.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. Hey, could this lead to...
As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
They moved as one for the door.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke, without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
Slowly, all 5 nodded their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. They poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
We're back. In the hospital room.
So.
I see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
Und jetzt sind wir nämlich hier. Von daher würde ich sagen, ist das ein guter Punkt, um zu speichern. Ich lege mal kurz das Ding zur Seite, denn es gibt noch eine Sache, über die ich reden möchte. Denn ich habe eine Sache gesehen, die mir ein kleines bisschen, wie soll man sagen, ich finde es sehr lustig. Jetzt gerade was zum Beispiel auf Twitter passiert. Elon Musk fährt das Ding ja mit voller Wucht vor die Wand. Wie können eigentlich Leute denken, dass der Typ so krass intelligent ist? Warum idolisiert man Multimilliardäre? Das kann ich nicht nachvollziehen. Klar, man möchte gerne so sein, aber ganz im Ernst, es gibt keine guten Milliardäre. Aber das, was jetzt passiert ist, da sehe ich dann auf Twitter trendet Andrew Tate. Ich war so doof, auf den Trend zu klicken und habe gesehen, oh, die Arschgeige hat wieder einen Account. Super. Oh, wie kann es sein, dass der Saftsack Fans hat? Ich verstehe es nicht. Ganz im Ernst. Ich verstehe Männer nicht, die sich irgendwie über ihre Männlichkeit definieren müssen. Warum gibt es solche Leute? Ich muss mich da kurz mal drüber auslassen. Und da habt ihr jetzt keine Wahl. Na, wobei, ihr könnt natürlich auch einfach weggehen, weil jetzt passiert ja hier nicht mehr viel, aber trotzdem. Was ich damit sagen möchte, ist, ich verstehe es nicht, dass es Leute gibt, für die es so wichtig ist, dass sie besonders männlich sein müssen. Warum zum Geier? Wen interessiert denn die Männlichkeit von solchen Leuten? Klar, ich verstehe, wenn da irgendwie jetzt... Also ich verstehe zum Beispiel im heterosexuellen Dating, da ist es dann typischerweise so, eine heterosexuelle Frau steht auf bestimmte Aspekte, die als männlich betrachtet werden. Genauso wie umgekehrt also heterosexuelle Männer typischerweise bei Frauen auf Sachen steht, die als weiblich betrachtet werden. Aber auch da sehen wir, dass diese Grenzen immer weiter aufweichen. Und das sehen manche jetzt als ein Problem. Und es gibt so viele Leute, die meinen, die Männer heute sind alle total verweichlicht. Und dann gibt es dann gerne welche, die dann mit diesem Scheiß ankommen nach dem Motto, wie war das? Von wegen, harte Zeiten erzeugen starke Männer erzeugen gute Zeiten und gute Zeiten erzeugen schwache Männer und schwache Männer erzeugen harte Zeiten. Was Blödsinn ist. Der ganze Schwachsinn ist halt... Also es ist sowieso so, diese Idee von wegen, die Männer sind nicht mehr männlich genug. Die gab es schon in der Antike. Die alten Griechen, da gibt es teilweise Sachen von welchen, die gemeint haben, die Männer werden verweichlicht und benehmen sich wie Frauen, seit die diese weichen Stoffe der Perser tragen. Das ist kein Scherz. Und ich verstehe auch, woher das kommt, weil früher, da musste man sich als Mann nicht über seine Männlichkeit definieren. Da musste man nicht zeigen, wie männlich man ist gegenüber den anderen Männern, weil es gab halt den Raum zu Hause, da gab es den Raum für die Frauen und für die Frauen untereinander und es gab für die Männer den ganzen Rest der Gesellschaft. Das heißt, alles war tendenziell männlich konnotiert. Die Männlichkeit existierte durch die Abwesenheit des Weiblichen. Jetzt ist es so, dass das Problem ist, dass die Frauen ja jetzt auch in diese Bereiche vordringen. Das heißt, die Männer müssen wieder irgendeinen Abgrenzungsbereich finden. Und das finde ich so bescheuert, weil das Weibliche scheint zu existieren, ohne dass es sich vom Männlichen abgrenzen muss. Und wenn eine Frau etwas macht, was eher maskulin konnotiert ist, dann ist das meistens eine Sache, die sogar als ein Empowerment also quasi zu betrachten ist. Wenn ein Mann allerdings aus seiner Rolle ausbricht, dann wird er immer noch ausgelacht oder als seltsam betrachtet. Und ich verstehe es absolut nicht. Leute, also ich sag mal kurz, wie meine Erfahrung mit Maskulinität ist, weil ich persönlich finde halt, das typische Bild von Männlichkeit ist für mich persönlich ein Käfig. Aber gut, ich bin ziemlich sicher autistisch. Das heißt, für mich ist es so, dass viele Sachen der Gesellschaft keinen richtigen Sinn ergeben, weil ich einen etwas anderen Blick darauf habe. Ich bin halt komisch verdrahtet, aber für mich war es nie so, dass ich ein Interesse daran hatte, maskulin zu wirken. Ganz im Ernst. Eines meiner Lieblingsspielzeuge als Kind war eine Strickliesel. Gut, das Ding bringt am Ende auch nur Stoffwürste, aber es machte Spaß. Es war einfach eine Sache, mit der konnte ich mich stundenlang beschäftigen. Und dann hatte ich nachher halt eine große, bunte Stoffwurst. Aber ansonsten, ich habe zum Beispiel auch gern mit Textilien gearbeitet in der Grundschule. Das hat mir Spaß gemacht. Und auch als das dann später soweit war, dass dann Dinge kamen wie, sagen wir mal, Sportunterricht, Ballsport und Leichtathletik war nie meins. Aber Sachen wie Turnen war meins. Schwimmen konnte ich, aber das lag daran, dass ich halt vorher in der DLRG war und da halt entsprechend Rettungsschwimmen und sowas gelernt habe. Aber auch so Sachen wie Choreografien und sowas haben mir Spaß gemacht. Und ganz im Ernst, wenn ich versuchen würde, mit meiner Erscheinung dann ein krasses Männlichkeitsbild darzustellen, ganz im Ernst, das wird doch wirken, als würde ich völlig kompensieren, oder? Das ist auch eine Sache, die ich so lustig finde. Um nochmal kurz auf Andrew Tate zurückzukommen, das Beste, was ich von dem mal gesehen habe, das war, dass er meinte, Sex ist eigentlich gar nicht so gut. Von wegen, du rackerst dich da minutenlang ab und hast am Ende so 10 Sekunden Spaß. Dann denke ich mir, Andrew, 10 Sekunden? Das ist ziemlich erbärmlich. Ach, jetzt mal, wenn Leute damit tatsächlich ein Problem haben, dass sie zu früh kommen, okay. Aber Andrew scheint nicht zu verstehen, dass man auch mehr machen kann und dass zu Sex ein bisschen mehr gehört und dass das Vorspiel alleine auch schon sehr schön sein kann. Für beide Seiten. Aber egal. Das ist so. Also ich habe mal sowas Schönes gesehen, da hieß es halt, normalerweise sagt man ja, the right can't meme und sowas. Und in dem Fall merkt man einfach, augenscheinlich gilt auch, the right can't fuck. Also das ist super. Es ist einfach klasse. Und was der Typ von sich gibt, da merkst du echt, der hat wohl noch nie im Leben ernsthaft mit einer Frau als gleichberechtigtes Individuum gesprochen. Ich habe das Gefühl, der Kerl hat einfach Angst vor starken Frauen. Na gut, wenn man denkt, dass der Kerl jemand ist, der wahrscheinlich alles, wovor er Angst hat, am ehesten in die Fresse haut, das ist eine andere Geschichte, aber boah, ich verstehe nicht, wie der Kerl Fans haben kann. Einige sagen ja, das ist nur Satire, etc. Da sage ich, Poe's Law, das nehmen Leute ernst und das ist das Problem. Und, ja, okay. Auf jeden Fall muss ich wohl nachher wieder den Blockfinger aufwärmen, weil es gibt Leute, die den allen Ernstes verteidigen. Aber gut, genug davon. Wir sehen uns dann beim nächsten Mal, wenn ich hier weitermache oder bei meinen anderen Projekten etc. Dienstag geht es ja auch weiter mit Curse of Strahd. Das haben wir diesmal halt 2 Wochen direkt hintereinander, weil es verschiebt sich so ein bisschen was mit Vorlesungen und so weiter. Aber gut, wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal, Leute. Bis dahin. Tschüss.